All right. Well, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you happen to be joining us from. And thank you very much for joining. Really do appreciate it. And here is our February 2026 live stream. Our special guest tonight, Vince, VE6LK. You know, for once on one of our streams, I am not outnumbered by the Americans, which is pretty cool. We got an even ratio here. So we're gonna stick up for the Maple Leaf, Vince.
Yes, we are.
We've also got Philip, KA4KOE, who stepped in to fill Chris, Kilo 2, Charlie Juliet Bravo's shoes. Poor Chris is
emergency break glass.
Ooh. Chris has suffered so much with this past winter that he's gone down to Florida to thaw out, and I hope he's making the most of it. So we gave him a pass this month. And of course, Tim and 9SAB, the anchor of the show, the legend, is joining us as usual.
Color commentary. Yes.
What's that?
Color commentary for free.
Color commentary, and very colorful commentary. Just a note while we get going here. I hope it's not laryngitis, but I'm losing my voice. So you may hear a lot less of me on this stream, which could actually be a good thing for viewers. So I'm going to ask my co-host to carry things to a larger extent here. But as we normally do, we're going to get into Vince. We're going to get into how he got into ham radio. What his passions are. We're going to talk all about that, and a little bit later on, Philip made the trip down to Hamcation. He's going to tell us about his Hamcation experience, and in addition, he picked himself up a beautiful 7300 Mark II, and is going to tell us about his impressions of that. So, having been said, let's just start going around the table here and see what people have been up to for the past month. Hey, Tim, do you want to kick it off for us?
Yeah. So we have two new modes. There's a new digital mode out there, FT2. You heard of it?
Yeah.
Yes. I think you still have to download. You have to download. Well, Vince will know. I know for sure. But you have to download a kernel or something and input it into the WJTX program and then restart the whole thing. I'm just going to wait until the whole thing is integrated for the next version. I would think it's the next version. And then now we have free DV too. So there's two digital modes out there that I need to get into. And I'm looking through the comments and I'm seeing all these Canadian call signs. So I won't talk about the hockey game. Okay. Rob.
That's a beautiful thing. And Tim, let's not forget, and I'm running at about half speed here, so you have to bear with me. I am going to
no change then.
What's that?
So no change then.
No change.
Yeah.
Let me just share something here, and that would be Tim is, of course, the proprietor of the Aetherwave Antenna store on eBay, Etsy, and Comms Depot, I believe, Tim.
Yeah, Comms Depot. I haven't heard from those guys in a while. I don't. I DM'd them on Twitter and emailed and stuff, and I haven't got any response. So if they're out there, shoot me a holler.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're looking for extremely well built and HF wire antennas, you don't have to go any further than Aetherwave Antennas. They've got some great stuff. I've used Tim's antennas for years. I've got ones that, Tim, you probably sent me 8 or 9 years ago that are still every bit as good as the first day you sent them over to me, and I'm not necessarily gentle on that stuff.
Neither am I. That's how I got it. That's how I started doing it, and because I'm not gentle really at all. But I can tell you a fellow I know that who's really not gentle with that kind of thing. His name's Philip. Right?
Oh yeah.
So yeah, he really likes to beat stuff up. He's going to get a box from me in a couple of weeks or in a week or so, and there'll be some new stuff coming out for summer, hopefully.
More free engineering services.
Yeah.
So speaking of engineering services, let's bring in the engineer himself, Philip, the proprietor of Electromagnetic Mischief YouTube channel. If you haven't seen Philip's stuff, he puts a lot of short videos out there. Fun to watch. It won't take up a lot of your time, and he's got some interesting stuff over there. So please head on over to Electromagnetic Mischief, sign up, and get to see some of his upcoming stuff. Philip, what is going on in your world over the past?
That's a nice G90 there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Where'd you
That's
get
the
that one? Philip?
That's the first one that I broke.
Told you.
That's the first one. Yeah. I'll give you 3 guesses where I got the second one at. The past month, what we've been doing, we actually had snow again here. It wasn't anything like it was last year where we shut down for a week in the Savannah metro area and where I live. Back on almost 2 weeks ago now, I went down to the Orlando Hamcation with my POTA buddy, Tracy, WA4IDS, and spent some time there. Met a lot of YouTubers, big time YouTube guys. Finally met Walt, K4OGO, and some other gentlemen.
Lovely man.
Oh, yes. Got to meet Allison. Gave her a hug. She's really sweet. And did you want the full rundown, Tracy? Just to recap on all of this.
Let's get into that later on. Sorry,
Okay.
I didn't mean to encapsulate that. I was hoping you could walk us through a little bit later.
And right now, I'm trying to fix my 30L1 Collins amp on the workbench back there, and working, of course. That's been about it.
It's just what he needs, more power.
All right. Thank you, Philip. Finally, let's have a chat with Vince. Let us know. Hey, Vince, I'm going to get your channel up on the screen here, and if you haven't subscribed to Vince's channel, please go over and do so. Vince has got a lot of great content, no nonsense content, and well worth checking out. Vince, what's been happening in your world for the past month or so?
Hey, Tracy. Thanks for the warm introduction and having me on this evening. What's been happening in the last month or so? I have been working with all of this gear on my bench, and what you're looking at is a Begali Traveler Light Key, a Stream Deck, a Flex control knob, and just added today is the CTR2 Duo control, because a few weeks ago I landed on a deal for a Flex 6600 that I could not turn down. And so I've been working on integrating those devices to give me the feel of the knobs that I really enjoy on a radio. I'm not much of a mouse driver when it comes to radios, as it turns out. And so that's really occupied a lot of my time. And when I haven't been doing that, I have been getting out on the radio almost every night. I want to say 4 nights out of 7. I've been getting on 20 meters and down at about this time of the evening. And I've been calling CQ at 14 words a minute. And I've been working on my rag tuning skills, because if you don't work on it, you ain't going to get good at it. It's that simple, right? So that's really what's been consuming me in the past month. Over my shoulder there, you can see a power supply on the bench. I have 2 of these Alinco supplies, and one of them, the muffin fan on it, suffered a death. So it had to get replaced, and it was easy enough to find, a 10 by 10 or 40 by 40 by 10 millimeter muffin fan.
Have you heard of the muffin fan?
No, but I've heard of the Muffin Man. There we go.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, go back for a second. Go back to your desk.
Yeah, sure. That one.
That you had. Okay, that little box that you've got there at the top of the screen.
This.
Yeah, that. Yeah, tell Tracy about that. What does that do?
So the Stream Deck is from a company called Elgato, and it lets you automate certain functions of what you do. In this case, I've programmed it to do keyboard substitutions for my Smart SDR for Mac, where I can, tap a key on a keyboard and have a function come up. And then I can map that key to here. So if I want to change my band, you can't see it all that well. Oh, wait a minute. There we go. I can get right in on it. If I want to change the band, I can go into there. Or if I want to pick an antenna, I can go to there. And I've programmed all of this in to help me automate and make easier use of this radio. I even programmed some filters. Oh, you can't see them; they just look white. That's unfortunate. But I programmed in some filter selectors as well. Because what do we do when we're doing in a radio? We're playing filters. We're playing with AGC. We're playing with volume. We're playing with the frequency. We're hitting a transmit button. We're hitting a key. So anyway, that's what I've been working on now. I have two of these on my desk, and the other one is doing my camera control like this, or or sending out my test pattern or whatever.
Do you have like I don't know, like wacky sounds, like morning news stuff like that? But you could, right? If you want,
I could. Yeah, I could. Yeah, no, that guy would be Gray Man Poda, Tim. He's got all the sound effects.
All right.
So, yeah.
Was it worth it? It was a couple $100, right?
Yeah, it totally is worth it. So the reason I got one of these things, besides somebody told me about it, and I felt that I should buy one, a little bit of peer pressure, thanks to Ham Radio Workbench, parting you from your money for the last, 258 episodes, is that I was the guy in Canada who delivered the very first remote exam when the pandemic hit. That wasn't a thing. And I quickly learned that I needed multiple cameras and camera control so that it did not look, so that it didn't look like I was playing Keystone Cops trying to give an exam. And so that's where it started for me. Of course, as an IT worker, I immediately got sent home during pandemic. Mm-hmm. So now we live on Zoom, Teams, Skype, whatever it was. So these things have been great for my desk. So yeah, they're worth the money, and you can find these things used on Marketplace. Sometimes you can find them on KWARC. Sometimes you can find them on hamshack.ca. Sometimes on ontars.com. And Tracy, if you need...
Those are Canadian sites, right?
And Tracy, if you need more Canadian buy and sell swap shops, go to my website where I keep a curated list of them. Good evening, N4JAW, Brother Jim.
Thank you for that tip. As it is, if I were to go and get all of those off of you, the KWARC site is my bedtime reading. I wouldn't actually get to sleep until sometime around 2:00, having to check all of those. But that's a great resource. I will check into that. Thank you.
Yeah, there you go. It's the most viewed page on my website, and I'm sure it's being viewed by Canadians because it's difficult for us as Canadians to find a private seller in the States that want to ship to us.
Sure. There's a couple dozen of you I hear too, right? I mean,
yeah, there's at least a couple dozen. We're growing by the hour, even if it's a low power hour. So, and I've stood in line at the USPS. I know how much of a ginormous pain in the patoot it is to try and send something inter country. So I get it. So it's for that reason that I keep those Canadian swap shops listed and curated, and current links to them, just as a service.
I have a similar box down at my workstation that allows me to do international postage and stuff like that. So it's actually quite, the worst I ever had to do was send something to Julian in Finland, where it goes right. I'm right here outside of Chicago, so it makes it to the post office, and that night it's at the airport, and it'll sit at the airport waiting for a flight for 2 weeks, and then goes and then sits waiting for a truck in Snowville.
Right.
Get to his house. So the flight takes 8 hours.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I have a shipping partner here that I use in Alberta to get our Morse tutor kits. And we sell Morse tutor kits, my buddy and I, and VK3IL paddles. Just a couple of things on the website. And we use a shipping broker partner to help us get that stuff out and figure out all the cross-border logistics.
Looks like we got Walt in the chat too. How about that?
Well, yeah, got a whole bunch of friends in the chat tonight.
Absolutely great to have him on board. Mike NQMAK has stepped in. We got lots of people. I would love to go down through this list.
We knew Walt when.
We got. I mean, did you check out? We got 7X4MW.
Whoa.
That one.
Woof. We got with the DX is starting to roll in on the stream here.
How about
That's
that?
awesome.
That's Vince. That's Vince for you.
There you go. You never know, right? So it's amazing what a guy can do with 10 watts and a wire, right? So why not? I'm at the polar opposite end. Not poking fun at Philip here for working on a 31L amp, but QRO in my world's 100 watts, and it always has been. It's only been in the last few years I've really started to embrace the whole QRP lifestyle. The radios are so small and so cute, and they're so much less expensive. You can buy a bunch of them.
You ought to see my videos with the 800-pound broadcast transmitter in my garage.
Oh my.
He broke that. He broke that too, by the way.
Yeah, in high school, we all get work experience week up here in Canada. At least we did when I went through high school, and I did my work experience week at AM 900 CHML. Now Wade in the stream knows what I'm talking about. That's Canada's first AM radio station. And they said, "Well, we're giving you all the Joe jobs, right?" And I said, "Yeah, I don't care." And they said, "Well, good, because come down the street here." And they took me to their backup transmitter site. And this was a 500 watt AM transmitter. And I swear the glass envelope was 16 or 18 inches tall. They said, "Here, you need to clean this out and get the dust off it, because we do fire this up once a year. We do not want it to catch fire." And it was just one of those defining moments that a kid remembers, being an electronics student. Hey.
Well, that's cool. I love Philip's Canadian accent too. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So QRP for you.
Yeah, QRP for me for sure. I love it.
You have a lot of projects going on, don't you? I was going through as part of show prep. I went through the Twitter feed, and you got a lot of stuff going on there.
Yeah, I try to keep busy. Great understatement of the week. I'll move aside here, and yeah, that's messy, but that's kind of typical. I've got 2 or 3 things out there. I've got a couple of K6ARK antenna kits that I want to finish soldering up. I'm learning. I'm embracing the wind of the toroid Zen moments, which I hate doing, but I'm trying to embrace it. I'm working with Ben from VF Comms, Ham Radio Rookie, with his new RSE rugged stranded element signal wire. And I have a chunk of the stuff up here at the house, and I did some of the very early field testing of it.
What is
on
that?
HF. Rugged stranded element. Gee, I have a piece nearby.
Is that the stuff with the Kevlar in it? Is it?
Yeah, carbon fiber. Carbon fiber. And so
Okay.
RSE looks like that. And so there's 1,500. Oh, I can't see what I'm doing here because my hand's in the way trying to keep my camera in focus. There are 1,500 strands of carbon fiber that are impregnated with nickel, or coated with nickel.
Okay.
On here.
Is there any copper in that?
Nope. Carbon fiber coated with nickel. And he's put a polyester jacket on the outside with a slightly waxy coating on it. And so you can go to VF Comms, Victor Frank, Charlie Oscar, Mike Sierra.com, and you can buy this stuff in Canada. You can buy it from gpscentral.ca. They're the authorized reseller in Canada.
It's a little pricey, isn't it?
It's pricey, but what wire do you have that has 300-pound breaking strength?
I suppose.
None.
You know what? I bought about a mile of WD-1A telephone wire at a Hamfest for $50.
Yep.
I'm gonna play with that a little bit.
Yeah, and that's fun, and that's what we do, right? We experiment with the hobby, and we see what we can do. My buddy Wade is in the stream from Dundas, and he and I hung out, and we were playing around with antennas one night down at the Desjardins Canal. We had a great time that night, just goofing around with the antennas. It's a hobby of experimentation. So, why not pick up some of this goofy wire and give it a try?
Do you find
and see what it does?
A little bit longer than normally, or
nope? It has the same velocity factor as copper.
okay, cool.
Now it has a slightly higher DC resistance than copper. So it's got an equivalent resistance, I want to say, to 24 or 26 gauge copper. I can't quite remember off the top of my head.
So if I take that and I attach that to one of my NFED transformers, like a 49-to-1 or something like that, what do you expect? It would kick it off a little bit, wouldn't it?
I would expect it to perform the same as 26 gauge wire because that's what my testing is showing.
Okay.
So it weighs the same as 26 gauge polystealth, what a lot of guys use.
Mm-hmm.
Slightly lighter than the wire that Chameleon uses, which is amazing stuff unto itself. It you can tie a knot in it. You can use it to support a mast if you need that, like you can do double duty. It's frankly quite amazing stuff. So now it's not cheap. It's new on the market. It's
nothing good ever is.
Yeah, nothing good ever is.
Hey,
That's
Vince,
right. Yeah.
Mike has a question here. Do you know the answer?
Would the RSC line happen to float near the top of salt water, asking for a friend? Yes, it does float because there's a little bit of air trapped in between the center and the jacket. So I have done that. I took it and I dropped this on top of a bowl of water, and it sat there. It didn't sink.
Pure water, not even salt.
Not even salt water. So I don't know.
And it won't corrode.
It's nickel.
Yeah.
So you can solder it. You can crimp it. You can tighten it down in NT1K. Thanks, buddy. Yes, I do float. Smart ass. You can tighten it down with a screw. You can have all kinds of fun with it.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Nothing will beat negative 50 in a calowatt. I agree with that for sure.
What else? I saw you putting some batteries together too.
Oh yeah, I had some 18650s that came into my hands and previously enjoyed. Surplus used, whatever word you want to use.
Love, right.
And I wanted to rebuild some of my battery packs to make them a little more lightweight. Part of my QRP drive has been to be able to do the 1 pound challenge for a SOTA or POTA activation. Earlier this year, I tried to do it with a KX3 and I was still at like 3.5 pounds. And one of the articles I wrote on QRP was, what's your kit mass index instead of your body mass index? And it was all about how to lighten up your kit. And so anyway, I've since got a KX2 and the KX3 is gone. And so that lightens up my kit considerably. But I realized that for my QMX, I needed a battery pack that was voltage friendly because the QMX, until the recent firmware change, was unhappy with voltages above 12 when transmitting. So I built this with the QMX in mind, and I built some 3S, 1P, 3 serial, 1 cell packs, and I modeled a little plastic box for them to drop the batteries inside of. And then I bought the same, plastic heat shrink that, the big guys use to make the battery packs look pretty. Now on the front of my website, what I always do, I took a page out of the book of Denko, Dennis 86TM,
right.
who's no longer making batteries.
No,
but he stopped doing it. I don't know the reasoning why.
You know what? I had put that on my list of things to get
from Denko. Yeah. Well, who you can get them from now is Tuftelin.
Oh, okay.
From Joshua. But I built these battery packs up, and then on the front of my website, you go right at the top, it says Ham Smarter with VE6LK tools. And I've published there a half dozen tools on my website. And when I look at the list of what's there, there's a Potathon Rove planner, there's an estate asset listing and planner, a gear and event checklist, because like, what's an OCD person without a checklist? That would be me. There's the battery voltage charts. That's the part that's particularly interesting to this discussion. And those battery voltage charts are for 3S and 4S, lithium ion and lithium iron phosphate cells, because we all believe that a 12-volt battery, air quotes, is nominal 12 volts. But we really know that to float that battery, you need 14.4 volts in it. Oh, let me talk lead acid. Got to remember the chemistry. You need 14.4 to float it and 13.86 when it's 100% full. or 100% state of charge, to use the common the modern vernacular. But a lithium iron phosphate battery floats higher than that. It discharges differently than that. It's not a linear discharge, but it's a geometric discharge. And lithium ion is the same way. So I built these battery charts. I don't have one handy to show y'all. Oh, I can probably get a screen share going. Why didn't I do that?
When you're snowed in 8 months of the year, it's amazing.
And so I did this, and I published these charts so that people who were building their own pack could just use them themselves. So let me do, where are we going here? Battery voltage charts, PDF. There we go. So if I zoom that in a bit so y'all can read it, and come back here and do a screen share.
Share that screen, baby.
Share screen. Use system operating systems allowed. Oh, yeah, no, I don't want to share this window. I want to share this window. Share this window. There we go. So I believe, oh, it says you're sharing the entire screen. Well, that's okay. You guys can still see it. You're seeing one monitor, right, of my three? What are we seeing for the share here? No, the share is not working as
I don't see nothing.
Okay. Oh, the share went to backstage. Present.
Sounds like you have a command center as well.
I have 3 monitors and
You were looking
12,
for a producer.
12 virtual desktops. Okay, so Tracy gets to bring that in from the back screen. Now, you should be seeing my battery voltage charts.
Not seeing it, Vince.
We're seeing your FT817.
That's my FT817. Not sure why that's.
All right. Well, so here's what we're going to do. Y'all are going to imagine that I've got a chart that shows green, yellow, and red, and different voltage levels and 100% down to 0. That's what the battery charts are. So for guys who have bought a battery, like a Bioenno, because it works with those, you just got to pay attention to the chemistry. You can take one of these, print it out, and tape it on with clear packing tape. And then you'll always know the state of charge on your battery based on the voltage that your radio is telling you. So that's one of the tools that I've released on my website.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the most asked questions out there in the POTA portable community. How big a battery should I get, or what kind of battery should I get, or who should I get it from?
Yeah.
I hear it every day.
Oh, yeah, I hear that a lot too. And I hear it in the candy store. I work part-time for one of the dealers in Canada. And we get people coming in going, well, I'm going to buy this 50 amp hour battery to go out for 2 hours. I said, well, okay, you can do that if you want. It might be a little heavy. You could probably get away with a 10 amp hour battery, at 100 watts, if there's enough discharge. And, there's a whole pile of questions that all come up around that. And there's really good guys that talk about this stuff too. Marcel, AI6MS, talks about battery and battery choices and battery pack building. So you'll find him. He's going to come up soon, I think, on Red Summit RF, if he didn't already, on that channel.
Yeah, somebody's looking for the link. You got a link you can post?
Yeah, here. Let's
send it to, put it in the chat, or give it to us.
Yeah,
I'm on your site now, Vince,
just
and I think I can share the
the
screen.
The front, yeah, go ahead and share the screen. It's right in the front there.
Okay, give me a sec.
Oh, it's a good thing I got here early tonight to practice all these technical things I was doing, and then one of them doesn't work. There we go. There's the front of my website. So if you click on the Ham Smarter with V6LK tools, a little link that says they're all right here, that takes you to my public Dropbox. And so,
oh, you know what? Hang on. It didn't follow me when I.
Right. It opened up in a different window.
And, try it.
We are going to figure this out.
Old guys do tech. I love it.
Hey, I'm a Luddite. I'm proud of it.
There we go. So here's the public share off of my Dropbox. I put a copy of the rack band plan in there because I was the graphic author for that plan. There's the 200 decibel chart. If you ever needed to know how many dBm or microvolts goes to how many decibels, There's a chart there that shows 200 dB of dynamic range. I'm not the creator of it, but I'm a guy who modified some existing work. There's the battery voltage chart. So click on the one that says battery voltage charts.pdf, please, Tracy.
So putting your tongue on it is a bad idea?
Well, it depends on how much voltage there is and how much tongue you got, you know?
A lot of tongue.
So anyway, here's for the common batteries. And then if Tracy goes back, so you can print this out and paste it on your batteries. Just go back one, Tracy.
Whoops, hang on a sec.
Now, you'll also see battery voltage charts.xlsx. That's the original Excel spreadsheet for those of you who are building your own battery packs. Download this spreadsheet and add the bits in it that you need to know. What's the charging current maximum for your pack? Because that varies by the battery. What's the discharge current? All of those things get put on that decal. And that decal makes it look like a commercially built battery. That was my goal, following in the footsteps of what 8060M did.
Hey, Vince, pop me an email. I need to send you something, a spreadsheet I did. You might want to look at it and send it around to folks.
Thank you, sir. I will. And what else have I got in there? I've got a coax velocity factor chart, and that chart is formatted for Rig Expert stick analyzers, so that you don't have to memorize the velocity factor of different coaxes when you're trying to determine the distance default. My gear event checklist. And then, the biggest one that the biggest piece of work that I put in there was about estate planning for Silent Keys. And this is after the sad passing of 2 or 3 of my friends recently, where I've helped to clean up the estate. And so the tool is aimed at those that don't know how to manage an estate and build a price for it and do an inventory for it, or the family that doesn't know what their options are, because all too often that is the case. The family's left without any real knowledge of how to get rid of the gear. I've had families say to me, "What do I do? Take it all to e-cycling?" I'm like, no. You've got some thousands of dollars of value here. Let me figure out what this is worth for you and tell you how to sell it. So this is a service that we do, right? As hams helping hams.
Very true. Very true.
So these are just tools I built over the years I just want to share with people.
What about those of us who want to find a deal at an estate sale, though?
Well, then you're just going to have to watch out for those deals to come up and understand that.
I'll tell them about your sheet after I buy it.
Yeah, you can do that if you want. I just learned a new side of you, Tim. I'm not sure I like it, but that's okay.
I'm sorry.
I know we're all kidding tonight. It's all good. So
Tim throws around nickels like they're manhole covers.
Big manhole covers too.
big nickels then.
Big Chicago-sized manhole covers.
Just make sure your covers don't get launched into orbit.
Yeah. So, I got interested in this when I was 7 years old. When I was 18, I challenged the Canadian exam. Morse code was mandatory at 12 words a minute then, and girls were more interesting. So I did not finish getting my license then. It took me until age 40 to get my license. And 2 years after that, they dropped code as a requirement. But in that interim, I did do my code endorsement, and I did it to make one contact so I could get on HF. And then the pandemic hit. And I got bored of FT8 after 3 weeks. Don't hate on me, okay? FT8 is for some people. It's just not for me.
Yeah, there's no hate. You want to do it, great. If you don't want to do it, that's fine.
Right? So I got bored after 3 weeks with it, and I pulled out.
I had the best time of my radio life on JT65.
Yeah.
And it was just so much fun because
I
had just started and I was getting into stuff, and here was this cool thing that I could play with and actually go out and make contacts, and it was great.
An allegory. I don't really care what tools you're playing with in the sandbox, as long as you're playing in the sandbox.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's all that's important.
Or as we've been known to say, it's a hobby of 1,000 hobbies. Just follow where you're interested. And so I picked up my my key again during pandemic, and that's when I really started in earnest going after my CW and trying to get better at it. It's still a love-hate relationship for me. I love the thought of it, and it hates me. But I'm gonna continue on. I will keep working at it. So
It's like me and CW.
yeah,
Yeah, I'll keep
yeah,
working on it. It hates
yeah,
me.
yeah,
It hates me.
yeah, yeah. Now Mike's in the chat, and I happen to be the guy that had Mike the pleasure of having Mike's first CWQ. So he says, "Hey, let's do a CWQ." So I'm like, "Oh, cool. He knows what he's doing," and he pulls out a chart, and he'd never done it before, and so it turned into a very impromptu CW lesson on the hill, Lundy's Lane in Niagara Falls, Ontario, site of an 1812 battle, as most battles take place on top of hills, right? Um, and so we had a great time that day doing that activation. If you go look on Mike's channel, you'll find a video about it. We had great fun. We did it. Oh, I'll show you the antenna we used. Tim, you'll be especially interested in this.
I will. Yes.
This is the
Oh,
antenna we
okay.
used.
Yeah. I've seen those.
Yeah, 10-watt dummy load.
Yeah, that's cool.
And
yeah, just like mine.
yeah, and so dummy loads do make antennas.
That certainly.
They're terrible antennas, but they will radiate a signal.
I ship 4 or 5 a day at least.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. So I've been known to pick those up at flea markets and then send them off to my friends after they have the joy of experiencing their first dummy load QSO.
What what is that? Is that just you've attached? Is that a 3D printed case?
No.
Like a
No, this is a commercial end connector.
okay.
That's a 50 ohm impedance terminator. That's what they were called in a
That's
power
pretty
circulator.
slick.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. These are 10 watts a piece, and I use N to BNC connectors for them because that's what most QRP rigs want. The N to BNC adapters are like hard as heck to find at a flea market, but if you look around enough, you will find them. So, yeah, he only uses resonant dummy loads. That's always a good idea, Hollywood. So, yeah, I mean, I have fun with dummy loads. I have fun playing with antennas, and I probably operate portable about 90% of the time because I'm just so tired of the noise at home.
Vince, I have a question for you. Do you just hook up to random metal objects and try to radiate with them?
I have tried that. I'm not as prolific as other guys on YouTube. I'll admit that. I haven't tried to load up a guardrail or a chain link fence.
There's 1 or 2 in the chat for sure.
Yeah. Yes, there are. I haven't tried to load up a barbed wire fence like Gaston has, the tech prepper.
Yep.
That was a brilliant video.
Or a corn silo.
Or a corn silo. No, one of our listeners from Workbench loaded up a corn silo. He was happy to show us a photo of it.
Yeah.
And he worked a contest off of it.
Sweet.
No, but I'm all about an antenna that's not very high in the air. I mean, what's the point of ham radio? Let's get out and make contacts.
You know, that's
one of the points.
I say that too because I've never been a great big huge high in the air antenna guy either. I mean, as high as I can get, an arborist bag in a tree or something. I mean, that's as high as I go, and I've done fine on 80 meters and 40 meters and stuff. And I'm hardly ever more than 25 feet.
Yeah, I'm never at home here. I'm at 20 feet.
What's he giggling about?
He's the comment that came up on screen. At home, I'm up at 20 feet, and that's a lot of effort to get it there.
Yeah. I did
in the field. I'm up at 7 or 8.
Yeah,
just as high as my arms can reach.
Yeah, I believe it. I had a conversation with a guy last night, and he was new. He's new ham. I get a lot of emails, and they always start out with, I'm a new ham, right? And so I have to, put my stuff down and think about what I'm saying, really, for once. And he's telling me, well, I bought, I did the tech prepper dipole with Gaston a couple years ago, and he has one, and he had it 4 feet off the ground. And he's like, well, I'm having trouble on 20 meters, right? So I went into this conversation about, 20. Yeah, there's a 20 meter element to it, but that was just kind of there so people could also have a 20 meter antenna. But you really got to get that thing up, 20, 25 feet in the air for it to work, and that 20 meters really isn't an NVES frequency because it's skip. So I got to do a whole thing on 20 meter skip and stuff like that. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm more often in the field, trying to do something goofy like work a coil short and 40-meter vertical whip in the middle of minus 10 Celsius weather in the dark,
Yeah. Never a whip,
just
never a whip
because.
fan. No, never a whip fan. I had a super antenna that was
Yeah,
the early version of like the Wolf River coil kind of thing or whatever. You had
yeah,
to get
that's right.
a little chart and do all that stuff, and it just kind of soured me on the whole thing. Wire was so much more fun for me.
And I've moved to being a wire guy too over the years. I still have a couple of verticals. I've got a JPC 12 in my kit. I have an Elecraft AX3 in my kit, so that goes nicely with the KX2. Um, and I can probably cobble together a different vertical if I wanted to, but wire is just easier.
Yeah, I think so
Yeah, I
too.
mean, there's a lot less jacking around in terms of
Things are
tuning
windy
it.
too, and wires. The whips tend to, at least the ones that I have, tend to bend. They get
Yeah,
bendy after a while and fatigue and break.
yeah.
Never had that happen with the wire.
No, I have not had that happen with wireless. I pulled it too tight. One of my favorite antennas is a trapped 20, 30, 40-meter end-fed half-wave.
Mm.
And this was built using micro light traps from TIM N7KOM. Now they're QRP rated 10 watts on phone and 5 on CW. They're tiny.
So how
They
long
weigh,
did it end up being then?
it ended up about 42 feet.
Oh, that's cool.
So real nice lightweight size
Yeah.
and resonant on the CW band. So it's perfect for one of my QRP rigs that does not have a tuner in it. My UKIT's HP1B.
Mhm.
And if I want to run 80 meters on it, I can do that too. Boy, 40 meters and 80 meters is such a fun band if conditions are good. I was activating at the Devil's Punch Bowl in Stony Creek, Ontario last spring on 40 meters on phone at 10 watts. And I was working a guy in New Jersey, and the sun was just coming up where I was. So he's had sun up for an hour. And we were as good a copy as to each other as you guys are to me right now. It was great. And so we played the game. We turned down my power and I went all the way down to a watt and he
Oh,
could
cool.
still hear me quite well. 40 and 80 are great if you've got an antenna in the air and you can hear people,
I get a lot of noise here too, so I don't have as much fun on 40 and 80 as most people do.
Yeah.
Especially 80. 80
Yeah.
is for me.
Yeah.
Do it.
Well, hey,
Yeah.
I brought some photos here, so why don't I flip those on? Because this year I began to embrace the bicycle. So let me say share screen.
Here comes Mike with his weirdo stuff. Yeah.
And I'm going to share this window. You can see my photos in the preview. So Tracy's got to bring that up on stage now. There we go. And so this little oil well that you can see here is the site of the first oil well in Western Canada. And it's in a national park in Glacier Waterton International Peace Park, as we all would know it, or Glacier National, Waterton National Park as Canadians know it. And so that's a POTA entity. It had never been activated before, and it's on a drivable road. It's just kind of hard to find.
Yeah,
So
cool.
it was, one spot I went to. Good evening, Sir Jim. WT1W has joined us in the chat. And so earlier this year, I was at a spot. Yes, there is an echo happening in the comments there. Earlier this year, I was seeing some people going off bicycling. And I thought to myself as I was doing a POTA activation, well, what about if I take my bike out on trail? And this was
that thing's sweet. Look at that.
my city commuter e-bike.
I want one. Yeah.
And I could ship this one down to you, but it'd be cheaper for you to buy it off of Amazon because that's, I think, where this came from. But I'm an off-roader from way back. I used to go 4x4ing with a little 4x4 and then a quad later on. And I really miss my time on trail. So I decided to take this out on trail, and I've done 2 activations with this bicycle. And coming down the hill where this photo was taken, I discovered just how poor my brakes are on this thing. Now, I can usually stop in 20 yards. It was taking me 100 to stop on this slope. So I landed up 3 days after that trip I landed up getting a full suspension mountain bike from Trek
There you go. Yeah.
and loaded it with panniers. And so I was back down at Waterton National Park, excuse me, and I crossed over the Continental Divide with this bike. Doesn't that sound impressive?
It does.
When you see the Continental Divide and you realize it's the low point and it's a road and you can walk across it, it becomes far less impressive sounding. Anyway, I took my bike out on a trail and I rode in about 5 kilometers, and I activated a POTA entity, the Akamina-Kishineya Provincial Park in British Columbia, in our neighboring province. So I crossed the Continental Divide and then the provincial line to get to this park.
One, isn't it?
Yeah, because nobody had done it before. So I chase after parks where nobody has gone before with this bike. Now I got there and, well, there's a little bit of warning about a bear in the area.
Problem. Well, 44 be fine.
Right. Yeah.
Let's put this in perspective for all of us in Eastern North America. These aren't black bears we're talking about. They're grizzlies.
Yeah, they're the big ones.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you've got your good old Smith & Wesson, Model 60 or something,
And so, you can see the photo of the bear on the left, and you can tell that it's a satellite image on the right.
Mm-hmm.
And you see that yellow stripe. That yellow stripe is the bear zone, and that bear zone was the road. So we had to pretty much watch out for bears.
So they're like camped out on the side waiting for guys on e-bikes to come out and
well, because they're short on rubber in their diet.
Well, the Vince that I know would have a cattle prod hooked up to that e-bike battery, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Just show the bear charts and
so this bike has allowed me to get into these beautiful, beautiful spots that I would otherwise not get to because I'm in shape. My shape is round. Round doesn't go hiking much. So I'd just rather go cycling into places or into backcountry spots like this. This is an hour off of any highway in the middle of nowhere. There's no cell service.
Just kind of makes you want to stick a rod and a reel in that river there.
In that big lake. It's a big, deep lake. It's a mountain fed. And it's a beautiful spot. I go out to that particular spot as often as I can. I have some interesting ways that I mount antennas. So you can see a wire winder there. That's from Sparkplug Gear, and the Sparkplug transformers there. You can't quite see it. Of course, the Ticats hat is mandatory because Oski wee wee, Oski wah wah.
I'm sorry, what?
Exactly. That's the Ticats cheer.
If we have to explain, you wouldn't understand.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Okay.
Yeah. So Tracy and I grew up across Hamilton Harbor from each other. Right. So we're from the same area. I moved out here quite a while ago. But anyway, I mean, you can set up some antenna wire real simple if you only brought one mast.
Yeah.
You can just do stuff like this and use a bungee cord to hold it in place. I talked earlier about sitting in the dark making contacts. This was actually on Christmas Day evening.
That looks too cold, man. I'm sorry.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. It was in Banff, Alberta, and I was right beside the river, which was, of course, frozen over because I was frozen. I went out for half an hour in the dark and with only my headlamp on and my KX2 on 40 meters because I'm just absolutely a sucker for punishment. And I made 3 contacts in that half an hour, and then I was frozen. So I went back to the hotel room, and I finished my activation the next day. But this was one of the prettiest spots I ever sat. It was certainly one of the most serene.
Yeah, it looks gorgeous.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know it's a different brand. It's okay. Take a deep breath. You'll be fine. And so this was some of the early testing I was doing with some of the RSE line. So that's wire, but it looks like rope. And so I had soldered up some banana connectors, and I was playing with the mast from Ham Radio Dude Industries, the little Dude 6.
The Dude pole or the
LD6.
Yeah.
And the LD6 is the same. It's, I think, 6 inches shorter than the POTA Explorer 20. It's a little bit heavier. It's definitely more stout.
Hey,
so
Mike,
it's a really well-made product.
For Mike's comment there, you do know that the greatest quarterback in the world played in the CFL for a while too, right?
All I know is the Ticats cheer. I don't even know who plays. I'm afraid.
Mike knows.
Mike knows.
Mike
Okay.
knows. So yeah, so you got the dude. What was it, the dude 20 or the dude 30?
The LD6.
I gotta get
It's
one of
his
those.
it's his newest master. It's really well built.
Well, see, because I'm working on this project, right? So I've told the story here 100 times, but I'll tell you just because I know you might not have heard it. But my wife's car is a Jeep Rubicon, and she's had it for a very long time, and she doesn't drive it anymore, right? So I mean, this thing went, for the past 20 years has gone from the train station to the grocery store, so she's driving my car now. And so I've got this Rubicon sitting in the driveway, and I'm like, what am I going to do with this, right?
Put a radio in it.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm coming up with all kinds of ways. I'm going to turn it into like this commo command vehicle kind of thing, So we got I got the plans for the 891 and the 2-meter and stuff like that, and it's got the hitch on the back, right? So it's going to buy one of those hitch receivers that Philip is so fond of, and get like a dude 20 or something and put it up there and start playing around with poles, because I've never really messed with poles too much, and I hear that's very popular.
Yeah, it is, and it's a real easy way to get a wire up too. So
yeah,
I have a lot of fun with that stuff. Sometimes I just operate out of the tailgate because that's what I've got time for, right? So just throw my gear down, put out a logging computer. I sometimes log on paper. I'm more often on a computer. Sometimes I have to do a field repair. And I was in a hotel room in Jasper, Alberta, and my Yaesu screwdriver antenna was not antennaing, and I pulled it apart only to discover a wire had broken when I had reassembled it some 3 years earlier. And vibration in a vehicle, the wire finally broke apart. I didn't have any electrical tape with me, but I did bring a little bitty toolkit, and I had one of them breathe right strips that I wear at night so that my wife is happy, and so I can breathe better. Well, so that became
I was going to ask, but
my field repair.
Yeah,
I used that instead of electrical tape. It got the job done. So sometimes, you should carry tools when you travel.
So the Rubicon, the Rubicon will make it to Alaska, no problem. It's only got like 90,000 miles on it, but do they jump the Rubicons off the cliff, or are you supposed to do the like cliff jump?
You're supposed to do the jump without the vehicle so that you have something to drive to the hospital with afterwards.
Yeah, I was going to say, are they like doing like is it like one of those human parachute things? We don't do that. We don't do that here because we don't have any cliffs. But what we do is on New Year's Day, everybody drives down to the lake here and jumps in the water.
Yeah,
they do that.
Yeah, we do that out here too. The Polar Bear Club.
Yeah.
There's an obligatory selfie photo holding the pencil in a very unflattering pose. This is something we all do for Ham Radio Workbench. We send each other photos when we're out. I really do get to travel to some very pretty places.
Is that in black and white, or is that just how it looks?
That's in black and white, because when I produced this photo in color, I sent it to Mike Walker, VA3MW, who does photography commercially, and he said, Vince, there's not enough color in that photo.
All washed out.
Turn it to black and white, and you'll pull some detail out of it. And so what you can't see in that photo of some very backcountry wilderness is the height of the mountains because of the cloud cover. But I was at this spot, and I worked Thomas K4SWL by cryptesthesia, which is the fancy word for telepathy. I could barely hear him. He was standing in a parking lot in North Carolina with his KH-1 out. But of course, I'm in the back and beyond, so I've got no engine noise because the engine shut off. And he heard me, and I could almost hear him. We had enough of it that we could count it as a contact, but this is where I was sitting in this beautiful, beautiful spot way off in the back of beyond. And then just, 2 more photos. This was taken in Stony Creek, Ontario, at the memorial to the Hamilton and the Scourge. And 53 sailors lost their lives during the War of 1812, and they're all American sailors. And they're in the graveyard that you can see in the background, but it's a very somber place to do an activation. But
where's this at?
This is in Stony Creek, Ontario.
Okay. Yeah,
So it's
because there was the war
right
of
on the
lakes.
lake shore.
There was a lake war in 1812, as I recall.
Yes, there were.
Battle of Lake Champlain or something like that. I seem to recall. Or was that the Revolutionary War? I can't
This was off Lake Ontario.
remember. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So just outside the Hamilton Harbor. So I walked in with my backpack because it's not a drive up, and no, not like I was carrying a lot of gear. It was interesting. At that site, I experimented with elevated radials and elevated counterpoise, I should say. I had it on the ground, and nobody could hear me. Almost nobody could hear me on the reverse beacon network, and so out of frustration, 5 minutes of calling, I modified my frequency just a little bit. I went up 0.1 or something, so I could see the difference in signal to noise on the RBN. And I went out, walked off to the trees, the bushes you can see here in this corner, and I hung the wire in it at about 4 feet high. And all of a sudden my signals went up like 15 dB. And
I've heard it said one elevated resonant radial is worth at least 4 on the ground. It depends on which reference you look at.
Yeah.
And Butterpole does that with their Butter sticks. I mean, that's how their system works.
Well, and the POTA performer antenna from
that's designed for elevated radials, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I'm not the antenna
for me though. I watched who's Mike. He's in Wausau. The ham radio YouTube guy. Who makes the J poles? What's his name?
Michael. KB9 VBR.
KB9 VBR. Yes.
Yeah, I watched this video with the POTA performer, and it just looked like it was like too much construction for me. I like a little more rugged.
It's actually not all that bad. A few of my friends have built them, and they work quite well. They're amazing antennas. And lastly, I've been known to even go do some soda. Now, my style of soda is drive up or bike up.
Yep.
Again, because I'm in shape. My shape is round.
Let's not kidney body. Okay.
Yeah. Right.
I'm 55 now.
Yeah.
I'm not climbing nothing.
Oh, you're a young man.
Except
and so,
yeah.
He's trying to emulate me too much.
I'm on the stairs. That's it. Everything else is mechanized.
So that these are just some of my favorite photos. If you're real bored and you have what is it? You can't get to sleep at night. Just go to QRP.com and find my stuff, and it'll put you to sleep, because that's where Thomas allows me to do my creative writing. The other thing that some people know me for, and Tim will bring this up, Tracy will bring this up, excuse me, is that I've got a little YouTube channel. So you can go to YouTube and type in VE6LK. And I interviewed about 60 people. And I said, if you could give new CW operators one piece of advice, what would that be? And I called it the one CW question. And I had people literally from all over the world participate in this. It was fascinating. I read, 5 or 6 of the pieces of information they gave me absolutely resonated with me. And it was one of the most satisfying projects I've done on YouTube, 60 or 70 videos. I then went and re-edited them to be shorts, because some of the people would talk for 3 or 4 minutes. And so I wanted to distill that down to the 60 seconds of the essence. So you can find those all on my YouTube channel. If you're trying to learn CW, go learn from the pros. Don't take Vince's advice, because CW is a love-hate thing.
I have a question for you, Vince.
Yes, sir.
Do you think I think everybody, from my experience, should start with a straight key. Do you think too many beginners try to start with paddles right out the gate?
Yeah, I did too.
Because I don't know what it is, but maybe I'm getting impatient. But it seems like I wish that maybe with the code practice, and they're emphasizing too much on receiving code. And I don't know if any programs teach you how to properly send.
The Long Island CW Club does.
Okay.
And they're all about forming the characters well. And so what I've learned over what I've picked up over the years, there's a page on my website about how to learn CW. It is the only piece on my website that I didn't write. I asked smart people to write it, CW smart people, because I wasn't one of them, and I'm still not. I still struggle. And they said, learn with a paddle or learn with a straight key, whatever you want. But if you go to different courses, which are listed on that page, Long Island CW Club, CW Innovations, CW Academy, they're all there. Anybody can learn the code if you put the time in. Oh, by the way, even a slacker like this one here who's talking.
They told me that. They told me that when I tried to learn Chinese too. You put the time in, it'll come.
Yeah. It's the craziest thing. You don't get results unless you put something into it, and that goes with anything in life.
And I studied Chinese for 2 years, and I never got beyond Yan Can Cook, really.
And Martin Yan was a great cook. Like, we got to give credit where credit's due. And so, Philip, I don't know the right answer to that, because I learned on a paddle, and I've learned how to form the characters, and I learned what they sound like and the cadence of them. And now the key that you see pictured here was bequeathed to me from my friend's estate. He specifically wanted that key left for me. It's a one of a kind. It was hand built by him. Every part on that key, except the rubber feet, was machined. Oh, and the bearings was machined by Jerry.
Is that aluminum?
6 Alpha Bravo. No, it's steel. It weighs quite a bit. It's sitting on my bench.
I was one of these guys that used a piece of plywood and a Radio Shack Japanese ball bearing key.
Yep.
And the reason I mentioned this even altogether is maybe it's my imagination, or maybe I've gotten less whatever. But I'm listening to CW on the bands, and some of the fifths are painful to listen to.
Oh,
maybe it's just me. I don't know.
No, I think we all have a style that we prefer to listen to, Philip. There's nothing wrong with saying that. Where I'm going though with this straight key is I find now that I've been banging out some dits and dahs poorly for a few years with a paddle, I know what the cadence should sound like. So I actually find it very easy to use the straight key. I know what I want it to come out. Now, I haven't trained my muscles yet to make it come out that way. That's a whole different problem, right? But it's great fun to give it a try. So
you know what I got? I bought a little ham cube.
Oh yes,
yeah, which is a lot of fun. I have it.
Tim, show him your ball bearing key.
It's downstairs actually. That's when I said I got a key for Christmas. I actually got it from.
Yes, it's still in the bag.
Well, no, it's not in the bag anymore.
So
I took it out of the bag. Okay, I took it out of the bag, and just to play with it, and I do the ham cube because I got a set of one of those machined aluminum paddle thingies, right? But it didn't come with any instructions, so I had to figure out. There's a little switch on the bottom, and you could reverse it and do some other stuff. But I tell you, the scariest part for me, and I'm not gonna lie, okay, I have a computer backup system to help me with CW, because when I am on the air and I make a contact with somebody, which is kind of why I only really do contests with the CW, because if you're just out there, answering people, they want to talk. And that's when I lose it.
Yeah, that's when I lose it too. And that's why 4 out of 7 nights every week for the rest of this year, you will find me, if you set me up in your ham alerts, you're going to find me looking for a rag chew on the air in the evenings.
Oh, wow. It's like, wait a minute. And that's when I flip on the computer and get the translation and do the old method.
No, so I'm gonna finish this off with 2 stories here. So there was a live stream that happened, New Year's Eve live stream, and there might have been some mind-altering substances involved because it was Jason's live stream, and there was definitely a bit of peer pressure because everybody's going around the room going, "So what's your goals for next year?" And I'm like, "Oh damn, I got to show up on Jason's live stream, and I have to have a goal. Well, crap, I have to think of something really quick." I hate peer pressure, and so smartass. I got this idea in my head that says I'm going to go out and do 200 originating CW contacts in the POTA system per month in this year. And I tracked it. I tracked it with a spreadsheet. I knew how many contacts I did. I knew what bands I was on. I tracked all the statistics. Not like I'm a statistics nerd, but mostly I wanted to be accountable. Yeah. So I said it out loud so I'd be accountable. And I tracked it. And every once in a while on my social, I posted, here's what the spreadsheet looks like. And it showed the graph going up. And somewhere around month 9, I noticed all of a sudden I was having fun. It wasn't work anymore.
No, I haven't gotten there.
Because that's when the 200 per month minimum got superseded by I've been doing this more than 200 a month now on a sustained basis. And so it proved to me that if you want to learn CW, you do it every day, right? And so Philip knows this because he's a CW guy. And I bet Philip took some breaks while he was learning. And I did too. And it's okay to take a break. But here's what your break looks like. I want you to sit there and send into your practice oscillator for 5 minutes that night. That's all you have to do. Don't walk away from it. Because if you walk away, you say, oh, I took a break one night. And tomorrow comes and you go, oh, I took a break another night. And you get to the 3rd day and the 4th and the 5th and the 6th and the 7th, and you go, crap, it's been a whole week.
Exactly what happens. I went to Texas.
Yeah, I'm rusty. I don't like this anymore.
I went to Texas in the
fall. I did all these things.
And I brought my little CW Pokemon with me, right?
Yeah.
And I figured I was going to be able to play and do the things. And I got out of the habit. And I brought it home, and it didn't happen, of course, because I was busy doing other stuff. And I got home, put it out of the bag, put it up on the shelf, and it hasn't moved since. It's just, life gets in the way of things like that.
Yeah, it does. So just, if you're going to take a break, that's fine. But follow Vince's advice on taking a break so that you keep momentum going. Just send for 5 minutes at night. Sending is infinitely easier because your brain knows what you want to say.
Right.
Receiving is really hard because you have no idea what the hell's coming in.
Yeah. And they're all different.
Well, they're all different. Hey, I'm going to show you something really quickly here.
The guy who was asking about the ham cube, if it was a gimmick, and I found it very helpful. Particularly because I was using the paddle, and the thing for me was timing between the dits and das, right? So when I was using it, I found myself getting better between. There's 1 or 2 letters that I really had a problem with, like P or K or something like that. And it was what's dit da, Phil? He doesn't.
Da is 2 A's.
Okay, what's P?
It.
Okay, that's probably the one. Yeah, something like that. Look at that. So I always ended up getting reversed when I was doing it on the machine, right? So I always had to go back and forth, and I would always get the dits and the das mixed up. So it helps with timing. I was able to cure some of that.
So, for all of if Tracy would just click on me to make it ambigonate, please. I want you to see my decoding book.
Is that a word?
Ambigonate?
Yeah.
I don't know. Bart Simpson said it. It must be a word.
Okay, I'm in.
Tracy can spotlight me, I think is what it's called. But if not, so here's... Yeah, now you just got to switch to me.
I want that.
We're almost there.
You know what? I think, okay, I got it. There we go. Now let's try it.
Okay. There. I want y'all to see that the struggle is real. This is from 4 nights ago. And I answered this guy on 80 meters, WV7U. Wonderful man. He and I traded 2 or 3 emails. And I couldn't copy 3/4 of what he was saying, but I kept going. And you can see my style there. You might not be able to read my writing because Mom says I should have been a doctor, and I apologize for that. But,
well, it's in Canadian.
You can tell. You'll see the little sideways Z's here, and that's a da 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 da. That's just like a standard pause symbol.
Where's the A?
There isn't one in this conversation. But there's an ES there instead of an EH. So, thanks for something. Vince, and I wrote down, I caught the character, but I put the underscore there to indicate that I'd missed something. So that's what I decoded. And I recorded this conversation on my Flex.
What is DUD or is it DM? What?
No, I wrote down DU. I have no idea. That's what it sounded like. So now here's when I listened to that recording, he was coming back to me faster than I was comfortable with.
Yeah.
I had to listen to this recording. It took me 25 minutes. Good night, Jim. It took me 25 minutes to copy this 7-minute QSO because I had to keep hitting rewind. He also had a really high chirp on the signals, and he was sending with a bug on top of it all, so it was super challenging. But I just want to prove to you that if you get the guy's call sign in your signal report, you've made that contact. And that's all you
correct.
need to worry about is
I
make the
know,
contact. All the rest is icing on the cake.
Vince, I know one day, I don't know how common this is now. If an experienced, seasoned guy who's been 100% CW, doing CW all the time, or the majority of his operating is CW, if they came across a new guy on the air, and you can immediately tell that you're having a, they would send just a little faster than what you were sending at it to make you work for it.
Yeah.
Just a little bit, not enough to like blow you away, but just to keep you on your toes. I don't know how common that is now, but it seems like a good practice to bring up the new operators who are new to CW.
Yep, for sure. So for all of those of you who hate the thought of CW, just give it a try. And just give it 5 minutes a day, every day.
I've used the analogy. It's real similar to learning how to type.
Oh yeah.
You don't think about you just your finger just moves, and after a while it becomes automatic. Now I'm gonna tell you something. You might think I'm insane, or you may already think I'm insane, but this will even further underline that. I have a Morse key in my truck.
Yeah, me too.
And it's mounted in the cup holder right next to the shift. It's a ridge line, and I do CW in motion.
Yep.
And
I'll do basic contacts there as well. People think I'm crazy.
I do most of my POTA hunting like that, driving home from work. I can read in my head up to about 25. I don't really see a goal of going any faster because I'm from the South. We don't talk that fast anyway.
So do you got one hand on the wheel and kind of like that?
We don't talk that fast down here, son.
Well, hey, I've been talking for a while, but I understand Philip's got some news he wants to share with us tonight. So
I think that's a pretty good segue.
Well, we've got you as our guest, and we'll just let you tell us about what you've been doing. You're not here to hear what we're doing. You're the headliner here.
We got a Hamcation report.
We got a Hamcation report that we need to hear about because some of us did not get to Hamcation.
Well,
okay, Philip, you're on.
I haven't been to a major ham fest in a decade. And the last time I went was with my brother, Eric. And Eric had some dental work the day before. And so he took a painkiller pill on the way down there. Well, about an hour after hitting the Orlando Hamcation, he gets sick to his stomach.
Oh.
So I think he was bad off, my brother. And his call sign is Kilo 4 Tango Victor Radio.
Was it Vicodin?
And I don't know what he took, but I ended up, I had to take him home from Orlando. About the time I hit the Georgia-Florida state line, he said, "I'm feeling better, Philip." I said, "Well, it's too late, buddy. We're almost home." So, and that's been a while. That was right about the time. It's been about 12 years ago. That's when he bought his 7300 he owns now. So this was the first time I'd went. I drove down with my POTA friend Stacy, Whiskey Alpha 4 India Delta Sierra. He's a double E like myself. I've known since we were both in school. And it's very well organized. It was well attended, I think. Since I haven't been year after year after year, I don't know what the attendance figures were. But we got there when the gate opened at 9 a.m. and met a lot of the people, some of the big time YouTubers. Walt, got to shake his hand, got to meet his delightful bride, Allison, and some other people. But gave out a lot of postcards. I didn't go down there to buy anything. I typically go to socialize. No, the one thing I did buy in addition to Walt's book was I got one of these tiger tails from AHT. And there's a guy that makes these. I can't remember the antennas flex incredibly.
That's a signal stick from Richard.
That's it. Yeah. And I gave the guy some grief, but good natured grief. But I bought one of these tiger tails, and I bought one of Walt's books and got it autographed by Walt. And then I walked off and left it. And the POTA lady, POTA Power, her and her husband, they picked it up. So, but by the time I ran into them, I was worn slap out. That's a lot of walking. But the highlight of the day for me was hanging out with all the folks under the POTA tent. And I had a really good time just hanging out with the POTA people, or the POTArizing folks, as I say. So that was a really nice time. And Tim was on the lookout for FT 101. The original FT 101. We found a couple there, shot him some pictures while I was walking to spot the site. And it was a good day. The weather was warm. It wasn't cold. But my impression was the people organizing the event, they did a jam up job this year. And but what struck me was I didn't see any displays by Kenwood. Kenwood was, I don't know what's going on with that company. There's been rumors that they're getting out of the amateur radio business. POTA is the big thing right now. You figure they would have come out with maybe a low power rig or a POTA rig, but they've been quiet.
I can tell you from a retailer standpoint what Kenwood has told me directly. When the chip fire happened during the pandemic, it took out 3/4 of their production.
They had a fire?
They had a fire. The fab plant for their big chips had a fire. It affected Freightliners, Camaros, and a bunch of other things, all during the pandemic. Y'all may recall the pictures of all these cars lined up, and they're sitting in parking lots, and they can't be sold because they're missing their ECU chip. And this was the factory that produced that chip. And Kenwood had most of their production there. And so so if we keep in mind that in the amateur radio space, we get the benefit of these companies being commercial manufacturers and military manufacturers and marine manufacturers, and we are a smaller product line for them. So keeping in mind that they need to keep the lights on when a major piece of their business has been hit, Kenwood pulled everything back and invested it into their NX3000 line, their commercial line. And they have one team now working on amateur stuff until they have that chip fab capacity back. That's what they're going to be doing.
I knew there was a fire, and it affected a lot of the big screen, the flat panel screens for TVs and displays.
Yep.
It might have been the same plant.
It might have been. So Kenwood is very much in the game, just not as prolifically as they used to be.
Because they had a reputation for having great audio at one time. And I'm quote mature enough to remember that. I'm not going to say old.
Oh, I've had a couple of 1970s Kenwood rigs on my desk. I miss them.
Oh, they're fabulous.
Yeah.
My first purely digital display rig was a TS-130 Sierra. I listened to the Grenada Invasion on that. The guy down there.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So that was thank you for clarifying that about Kenwood.
Yeah,
but the POTA tent was the highlight of my day. I even did a video on it, me bugging people. They seemed to enjoy it though.
So my heart was broken by a TS-830S that got damaged in a flood. So that was my
So why are you looking for a Yaesu FT101?
Oh, I don't want to do the 830 thing again. It's a tender spot. The wound is still there.
Well, as they say, suck it up, Buttercup, and move on.
It's not the 101. I was thinking the 902. Okay.
901 DM or 902 DM. Yeah.
Yeah, one of those. One of those would be cool. Because I have my telephone stand over here, my all steel, original 1954 telephone stand that's just begging for a vintage radio of some kind. So I gotta have
Well,
it.
we tried to find you one. Personally, I think you need a Hallicrafters SR 2000 Hurricane. That's what I think you need. But
Well, we'll see. We'll see. That's my one of my primary reasons for going to Dayton is to search out that pristine vintage rig. It's gonna go on the thing. You know, we'll see. The universe will provide. Be fine.
KWM2A Iron Shepherd posted, that's a good radio, but it's horrible on CW. They just put out a lot of spurs around. I think to modulate the generation method they used on the KWM2A is very well documented. That would prevent. I had a KWM2A, and I can say, yeah, that's true. Great radio, but that radio's got to at least be able to do decent on CW. So somebody put that up there. And I think that's what the FD101 line was meant to emulate. And also the Heathkit line. They were basically the same form factor radios with a separate power supply that went on the floor. So that was the rundown on Hamcation. And then 3 days later, I got home and got sick. I been out of work for the past Thursday, Friday, and this past Monday. I think I picked up something from shaking hands with people down there. I don't know.
So when you go to Dayton, you're supposed to get the pork chop sandwich, right? So what is it? What is it at Hamcation? Is there like a Cubano or something that you're supposed to eat?
I think it's a pork chop sandwich. Somebody mentioned it.
Pork chop sandwich down there? And a gator
Something
tail
like that. But I've never been, so I have no idea.
Mm.
But the other thing was in the past, I've been using a Flex 6300 for a decade. And I don't know whether it's just bad luck, but the sucker kept crashing on me. And I got in touch with technical support, and I'd be in the middle of a QSO with my brother, and I'd adjust the audio equalizer and the sucker to lock it up. And usually I'd be using the Maestro. So like I said, the radio was getting on in age. It was over 10 years old. And of course, 6300 got discontinued a few years back. So I figured it was time to. And my brother has had a 7300 ICOM for 10 years. So when the announcement came out for the Mark II that had networkable capability and HDMI output out the back, I went ahead and ordered one out of the first batch and got it about a week before Christmas. And I got it right here on the bench. I'll run the camera around so you can see it. So I've been very happy with it. I was somewhat disappointed by the Sherwood report, but the metrics that that he uses are, I think, for close space CW. But it sounds fine to me. I hear people. Just fine. I think, Vince, you might have said that you'd already gotten one and you've noticed some difference in receive.
We on the Hammer Do Kids table, we interviewed Ray Novak from ICOM US.
We know him, friend of the show.
Sure. And Ray, wonderful man, like the ham's ham, really. And his comment was that there was a 15 dB noise floor improvement between the Mark I and the Mark II, and that's a key feature. You can hear better now with that radio. I don't own one personally.
Okay, well, I like mine. I think maybe eventually the cost will go down as they recoup some of their R&D, maybe. Although I think the original 7300 came down after a while, but they sold 100,000 of those. Mm-hmm. Biggest selling HF radio of all time. So
yeah, indeed,
I'm quite happy with it. I even it's a new radio, so I bought a cozy for it.
Wait a minute, 100,000 of those?
Yes, the Mark I's.
No,
that's what Ray told us. Remember I asked him if it was the best-selling ham radio of all time? Did you remember what he told us was? Vince,
Yeah,
do you know what the best-selling ICOM radio of all time
the
was?
little HG that he had.
ICO2AT.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
But see,
2AT.
that makes sense because
2AT.
you've got law enforcement and police and fire.
Was that the digital one, Tracy, or the one with the thumb switches on the top of
No,
it?
it was digital. It had
Okay, because I had a 2AT.
No.
Oh, that's across all categories of HF rigs.
yeah,
But
absolutely. But he blew us away. They sold something like 2 million of them.
hold on for a second. One more thing.
And he said, we were getting orders from all over the globe. We have no idea what they were being used for. Of course, right? And we suspect that a whole bunch of them got used for non-amateur purposes.
Oh no, people would not do that. Come on.
No.
But
Okay.
the only other project I have, then I'll shut up. Yay!
Wait, time out. I'm sorry. I have to stop you because we're not done with the 7300 Mark II. So here's the question a lot of people would be asking themselves. And I'm going to try to say this without going into a coughing fit. So now I can only tell you the Canadian, and Vince will back me up on this. Currently, I think it's around $2,200 to buy a 7300 Mark II here in Canada with the Canadian peso. The Yaesu FT710 is about $1,500. Both SDR radios, both recent. Yeah, sure, the 7300 Mark II has the HDMI out, whereas the 710 has the older DVI out. But I want to know, okay, you're really happy with your 7300. Did you think about the 710 at all? Did you go through a bit of a process? And I'd like to know what that process looked like for you.
The process is what features do I have to have versus what do I have to buy to get features on the other one. First of all, the first item is a personal preference. Some people it doesn't bother. It bothers me. The digital pan adapter display on all those radios, FTDX10, FTDX101MP, and the FT710, they don't do averaging on the pan adapter. I've always preferred averaging to slow it down a little bit. And that may not bother some people. It's a personal preference. But the rest of the figures on it, well, the receivers are fantastic. But I'm going to sit there every day looking at the display, and it's going to bug me. That in itself is not a metric for a lot of people, like I said. Now, let's say you want to connect your radio to the internet, which is a real big thing these days. To do that with any of those three radios, you have to get an external box. I think the model number starts with a SCU or something.
SCU17.
Got one.
Thank you. And it's like $200.
Mm-hmm. And not easy to set up either.
And to hook it up to an Ethernet a port. And the other item is the DVI interface they use. You cannot hook that directly to an adapter to a DVI monitor. And it's not. And some guys have had diodes inside their radios blown by that. There's some type of voltage feedback mechanism, which I'm familiar with it. There is one particular model of DVI to HDMI converter that Yaesu has gone on record to use, or at least via email. They told me which one to use. And the rest of the items that go along with that are personal preference. And another YouTuber compared the two, and I agree with this assessment. You may not. The menu system, how to access the various functions. The comparison was made like the ICOM 7300 and a Mark II, basically set up like an Apple iPhone. Easy to use, easy to access all your functions. While the Yaesu menu system has been described as difficult, And the comparison was made to an Android smartphone. Yaesu's like Android, ICOM's like Apple. And I agree with that assessment. The 7300 is this series is very easy to access, all of the critical functions. You don't have to dig deep in the menus to find what you want. Do I think the radio is a little overpriced? Yeah, that's a little bit. Yeah, for what I paid for it, brand spanking new. Yeah, I think it's a little overpriced, but I needed a radio, and that's the only one and those items there, the pan adapter, the ability to drive a monitor, the ability to hook up to the Ethernet without having to buy another box. You figure, well, I got to buy this and this to make that work. So it's kind of balances out a little bit. I will tell you that if the Yaesu line, those radios, if a 710 or a FTDX10 had averaging, I'd probably have one on my desk. But it didn't work out that way. It's almost like a Ford Chevy kind of thing, or people have different preferences, boxers or briefs, shoes. So they all do the job they were intended to do. But it's got to be a fit to your operating style and what you're comfortable with. Because if you don't, I'm an engineer, and you can't just blow things off like that. Say, well, every time I look at it, it's going to bug me. But that's basically the appraisal. Yes, I think the prices are a little high on it, but it's a brand spanking new radio, and after they recoup some of their expenses, depending on how well sales go, they may drop the price. No idea. What do you think, Vince?
Yeah, you're preaching to the converted here tonight, Philip, for sure. And as somebody has said in the comments, regardless of the radio, a well-tuned antenna makes all the difference in the world too.
I agree.
Yeah, indeed.
And
the other, so we have one vote.
Before I so rudely
I want to know who votes for briefs. That's all.
Yes, he's dragging me around here.
That's all I want to know.
Before
Did I answer your questions,
interrupted
Tracy?
you. Oh, jeez.
Did I explain that to your satisfaction, Mr. Tracy?
Oh, all I'm looking for is your side of the coin, right? And you gave it to me very eloquently, so thank you. Like I'm going to say I'm in the camp where I hear all this scope averaging stuff, and I don't understand it because the Yaesu has speeds that you can slow it down if you so choose, so that it's very comfortable for the eye. I know a lot of guys don't like the 3D spectrum scope, but you do have the ability to go to a 2D spectrum scope. So to me, that's one of those. And by the way, one of the things that, and I'm going to sound like I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth here. One of my favorite features of ICOM radios, and I've got a 705 sitting here, which does this. And ICOM has been doing it for years. They've got a display which shows you power out, SWR, ALC, and compression, I believe. And in order to see that, you get rid of the waterfall. I don't care for the waterfall. I like that 4-meter display. So if I had an ICOM, I'd be using that all the time. And so the averaging in the scope doesn't really make much of a difference to me. Now, on the flip side of that, what ICOM's got a couple of things going for them that Yaesu, and I don't understand this at all. Number one, and you alluded to it, you pull that ICOM out of the box, you use the hand microphone, your single sideband audio sounds fabulous. You do the same thing with a Yaesu, the FT710 here, for example, and your audio sounds muddy. You have to go in and tweak the settings. I don't understand that at all. Here's the next one, and this is a big one, particularly for those people who are into POTA or contesting. The voice keyer. You set up your voice message in the keyer. You go to the FT710 and you hit a button and it blurts out your message. It transmits it. There's no repeat. With the ICOM, there's a repeat function. You set up the timer. Okay, I want you to blast this out every 10 seconds. It's beautiful. Now, I don't understand why Yaesu didn't take a look at these things. And, there's nothing proprietary about those, and say, yeah, we're going to add that feature too. So there you go. Those are my thoughts on the topic.
Well, I've just pasted into the chat, into the comments, a link from Heil Ham Radio. And Heil Ham Radio has a website, heilhamradio.com, and you can look for DSP settings. And if you're uncertain how to set your DSP on transmit so that your audio punches through the pileup, and as Bob Heil showed many times on many YouTube demonstrations, how to peak your audio power, you can go to this webpage and you can configure your DSP to really minimize the width of that envelope to maximize the height of it. I didn't believe it until I tried it with my own eyes on my own power meter at home. That stuff works. So go visit that website.
100%. Thank you. Thank you for that. Philip, were you going
to go? Well, let me referring to one more point about the 7300. And Bob Howe worked with ICOM, and God rest his soul. I did talk to him a few times on AM.
Oh, lovely man.
The big joke is you've got one of these nice microphones right here, and you say, "Let me change microphones here," and being told, and this is a common joke of dread, "Oh, you sound better on the hand mic." And I've heard that said. I'm afraid to put the hand mic in because I got one of these. I've had this mic for over 10 years. Yeah, because they sound great out of the box. You got to work hard to mess the audio up on one of those. And that's all I have on that.
Beautiful. Okay. So before I rudely interrupted you, you were heading in a different direction. Where were you going, Philip?
Yes, you were quite rude, but that's okay.
Indeed, but
you were rude.
The only other project I'm working on.
Deal. There was a time in the past when I would have been offended by that, but now I just say, "Yeah, I own it. Bring it on."
Yeah. I've learned how to lighten up too. But all in love, brother. Anyway, the only other project I got going on is I've had a Collins 30L run for about 8 or 9 years. It didn't have any mods done to it, so I'm just doing some upgrade kits. If one of the tubes shorts out, one of these nice little 811As,
pardon me.
Take out.
Pardon me. Well, you have a what?
A Collins 30L1.
What is that?
It is a classic 4 811A tube amplifier.
Oh, okay. All right.
It goes above 100 watts.
It takes about 100 watts to drive it.
Yeah.
Asking for a friend.
Okay. Well, you're talking to a guy that had a Bauer 707 in his garage, converted it to 75 meters, and it do 1 kilowatt carrier all day. But I don't have it anymore. But that's the only other project that's upgrading my amplifier. Because I like to talk to my brother once or twice a week on 75 meter sideband. And during the summer, it gets hard.
Yes.
It gets hard.
Yes.
The only other piece of Collins gear I have in here is a 75A4. I've been kind of trimming down the collection. But that's all we got here, aside from me and Tracy are both still trying to get over the winter crud. And that's about it from the coast of Georgia, guys.
All right.
Unless y'all got any other complaints you want to file at this time. I know Tim's got plenty of complaints.
We'll take it up.
Tim?
Make up some.
What, right now?
Sure.
Well, okay. I wasn't going to say anything, but your audio's doubling, or there's an echo. You're coming back through the speaker.
Yeah, I've been aware of that. I was trying to rig up. I've got speakers in here. And
he's trying to sound like one of those Mexican AM radio stations.
Well, how bad is it?
That's not bad.
Okay.
I was reaching. You said come up with something. That's what I had. So
Well, I tried to get some of these. I didn't know I had a problem. I was trying to get one of these Bluetooth headphones working to turn that down.
No.
But it's kind of hard to configure that when people are coming back at you with questions rapid fire like that.
Just no, just a mic.
Because I knew you would complain.
Mic and a screen, baby. Just keep it simple. Okay.
Waiting for the package. Waiting for the package.
I did not know we were doing Festivus and the airing of grievances this evening.
You haven't really worked with Tim and Philip before.
No, I have not.
He likes to pick on me, and I'm a little guy, right? So, I'm
as big as me.
Yeah.
I mean, we're both gravitationally challenged.
Oh, yes, for sure. I am anyway. I don't know. We'll see.
Word on the street has it that there's a new collaboration antenna in the works. Any inside scoop?
Oh, new stuff? New stuff we're working on? Oh, yeah. Oh, there's a bunch of stuff. One of the things I really want to do this year is sort out that coil, that 40-meter short end fed for you.
Yes, we should get our heads together on that, because I haven't had a chance to look at it since I did that original, and we'll figure that one out, because that's a cool antenna. I know Vince was referring to a shortened antenna earlier tonight. This one is also one that I think Vince would be interested in.
She's got a 30,
essentially a 45
trap, I think he said, right?
We got two or three in the works.
There's also so I was on with Gaston a couple of weeks ago, and
this is for Mike M2 into MAK. Roger, how you doing? There's your squelch tail.
This is Roger B for sure. So anyway, I was on with Gaston a couple of weeks ago, and he's all excited about his little bag that he's gotten. Oh, this little bag. And wouldn't it be cool if you came up with something that would fit in the bag? Never mind, get the antenna first and then do the bag. No, here we're going to do the bag and then do the antenna. Right? Okay. So there's a couple of very small configurations we want to do with either a random wire and one in a linked end fed like we do, but reduced to work specifically with like a 510 watt radio, like a True SDX or something like that. So I've been fooling around with those. I cannot go outside and test for obvious reasons. So Mr. Sunshine down there is going to do that for me, just to make sure that I've got the correct links, because the links I gave him for the regular sized one when he put them up, and this is the one that's been around for a couple of years now, for some reason he couldn't get them to resonate at the right frequency. So we're gonna nip all that in the bud and cut them new. Not with floating wire though. Yeah, it'll keep the bag from sinking for sure. But there's no water in Arizona, so he doesn't have that problem. But he wanted something that would fit in the little kit with the True SDX and some other stuff for the whole resistance radio thing that he's working on or having fun with. So I'm going to do that for him. And then there's a new enclosure design I did for Julian. He wanted one too. He says, I would like something that could be mine. I said, okay, fine. I mean, I could do, it's an end fed. Okay. I mean, there's only so many things you're going to be able to do with it. You can dress it up and do some other stuff like that. So I gave him his own color combination and enclosures. And so that's with him now being tested. What else? So there's a lot of talk about this end fed OCF. Have you heard of this?
End fed, off center fed. Wait a minute. That seems to be a dichotomy.
It does, doesn't it? Okay, so
yeah, you have to look at it cross-eyed to figure it out. It's an interesting concept, and apparently it works.
Somebody I was talking to was saying, well, really, these end fed random wires like the W3 EDP, 85 feet radiator, 17-foot counterpoise.
Yeah.
Is effectively an OCF.
Yes.
So why is it being fed with a 9-to-1 instead of a 4-to-1?
Yes. Right.
So 9-to-1 to make your radio happier. I mean,
yeah, but in this case, though, the end-fed OCF is actually, if you had like a voltage balun, instead of having two radios come out, you could just attach the ground back through the shield of the coax, and then a section of the coax becomes that second leg, and then you put a choke. You put a choke on the other end. So it's an end-fed in the fact that you've only got one radiating or 150-foot odd element that you put out into a tree, and you hang it at least obviously 12 feet off the ground, and that cable or the other radiator is the bottom going into the choke. So you've got OCF, but in an end-fed configuration. There's someone on YouTube that's a big fan of that. And the first time I heard it, I was like, oh, okay. And did one of these, okay, but it's different. And I actually have an application for that, because right now I've got an 80-meter OCF here at the house. And part of it goes to my backyard. The short leg goes to the backyard. The long end goes out the front yard, but the tree that it's tied to is across the street. Now, the lady that used to live there was like, oh, yeah, you do whatever you want, right? But she moved. So I've got this person here that I don't know. And it's like, I'm not going to go walk over there and be like, I'll put a thing in your tree and, do all this stuff. It's not worth it. So my idea is I'm going to try the end-fed OCF and just have the vertical section coming down next to the house by the chimney, and then radiate that 50-foot section out into the backyard and have it go and see how that tests out. So theoretically, it's a small space OCF, right? Or a smaller space end-fed you can do. So that's in the works too. How I'm going to do it exactly.
My buddy Stacy's asked a question.
What was it? Oh, no. I've made a promise to myself that I'm never going to buy another radio sight unseen over the internet or anything like that. That the next radio that I'm going to get is going to be me physically looking at it and being able to talk to the person that's there, right? I didn't want to do an internet buy this time. But I asked Philip to take a look and see what was at the show, right? And just to get, I want to get a good idea of what, because when we go to Dayton, I want to spend some time in the what do they call that? The scrapyard or the junkyard?
The boneyard.
Boneyard.
Or whatever. Yeah. I'm going to spend a lot of time there going through and actually picking one, because this is going to be kind of a semi-serious thing for me, right? So when I get the Yaesu or whatever it was, then we're going to move on to the tuner and all the little accoutrements they had, just like I had with the 830, but not in a place where it can become damaged.
Hey guys, Rich has asked, what antennas are you all using? Do you have an antenna at the base, Vince?
I do. Lately, I am running two end-fed random wires. One of them is a W3 EDP, 85 foot and 17. And at 90 degrees to that, I'm running a 72-foot random wire with a 17-foot counterpoise. They're both fed with a 9-to-1. Previously, I've had a 05 43-foot vertical. I've had 5-band verticals. I've had fan dipoles. So,
let's back up the truck. Do you have a 72 and an 85? Right?
Yes.
Well, which do you like better? Because the one I make is a 72.
I'm happy with either because they're only 20 feet off the ground.
Yeah, I've always found the 71 to be so much. I mean, and the one I make is linked, right? So
yeah,
you can go up to 40 with a 35.5 foot or something like that.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
And then to 80, you just attach the other section if you want.
Yeah. One of my favorite field antennas is a 41-foot, 17-foot, fed with a 9-to-1, because I can get down to 40 meters with it, and if I hold my tongue just right, I can load 80. But it's very unusual that I can do that. So.
I have a dual band 80 and 40 meter inverted V at my house here that's been up for 10 years. And up at the in-laws, which I just put up an antenna at 70 feet, one of Tim's off center fed dipoles. I've never had an antenna that high. It blew me away. So that's what I'm using right now. Nothing out of the ordinary.
Tim, what do you got going on?
I've got I've got the 80 meter off center fed, and then I've got a 160 meter sloper for now.
And I've got a fleep My previous antenna, a high-end Fed 8 band, because I can only have an end Fed here in my small property, and then it goes out into the ravine, which is public property. My high-end Fed was taken out with a large tree limb fall, and so right after field day, I was able to get the Fleep up, and it's working really, really well. So look up the Fleep antenna on Aetherwave Antennas to see what I'm running, and it gives me 80 through 10 coverage.
Nice.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So here's an interesting one. I used to clip onto the guy wire holding up the FM tower. I bet it did.
Yeah.
Tips on using square trailer hitch mount for erecting a pole.
Oh, yeah, Philip can help you with that.
Yeah, just I got some videos on that. I kind of built up something and drop me an email and I'll send you some video links. My QRZ email address. I do a hitch mount when I can't do anything else.
Here's what really happened. Okay, so a ham I know bought a hitch mount, a 3D printed hitch mount that goes into the receiver, and it's got the two couplers, that go, and you put the pole in the middle with the pins. And the material that they had made it out of and the infill that they used to make it were a little brittle. So when the wind kicked up and the pole, it cracked it, right? There was a crack in it, did something like that. So this ham I know had a friend who does a lot of.
You shall go nameless.
Yeah, who has a friend who does a lot of 3D printing, made him something with a sturdier material and a higher infill rate, and it seems to have worked.
Yeah, that person who is known for being rough on equipment hasn't destroyed it yet.
Yeah, so at least I haven't heard any complaints, and I'm pretty sure that they would complain if there was an issue.
Good stuff. Hey, Mike N2MAK says he's made contacts in 60 meters with a 29-foot 9-to-1 random wire vertical tonight with his G90. Holy smokes!
Which is a radio that doesn't get enough love. It really doesn't.
I think it gets plenty of love.
No,
it does.
You've never used one.
No, nor do I want to.
Radio has great audio and transmit audio. It will tune anything you hook up to it.
Brother, when we at Dayton, we're going in the boneyard, and I'm going to find you a used G90 for like $50. You're going to take it home with you, and it's going to be your new favorite radio. And then outdoors,
because it can load anything.
Yeah, Outdoors on the Air is going to do a video on my new favorite radio out in the field.
There's an old saying that says, when I die, they're going to have to pry it from my cold, dead hands. There's an inverse of that. I'm going to have to be dead to get you to put it into my hands. Vince, you don't know this. I'm not a huge fan of communist Chinese radios. There it is. It's out there.
It's easier to say Chi-Com.
What's that?
All right.
No, I just
say Chi-Com is easier.
I'll sponsor the Japanese and the other ones, but I drew the line at Chinese. Anyway, that's neither here nor there.
That's okay. But we're going to buy it.
There's a lot of guys who really love them.
We're going to buy it. We're going to buy it from an American in America. Okay.
Hey, so there's a couple really good questions that you saved in the starred section.
Oh, thank you very much for catching those, because we're coming to the end here. And we've had a ton of stuff.
We've had some great questions tonight and some great conversation
here. All right. What do you got here, Tim? Can you respond to this one?
Well, we do a G5 RV, okay? And the reason I don't do the ZS6 BKW, I know a fellow who's been trying to talk me into this too, by the way, but I don't like ladder line, okay? I don't like twin lead. I don't like any of that stuff. So I did do a coax fed doublet with the 300 ohm JSC ladder line, and it works well, as you can attest to. That's the way I'm going to keep it. Ladder line is not, It defeats the whole reason I got into this thing was stuff that could pack up, is small and light, easy to carry, and you wouldn't notice if it was there, right? And ladder line is none of those things.
It's got to fit in those little camo bags you put your antennas in.
Exactly.
Vince, I'm not seeing the second one. Did you happen to see it?
The other question came from Jameski. What's the best 2-meter 70 sim radio for Oxcom crossband repeat if possible?
What?
Something I didn't talk about was some of the Oxcom work I did in 2013. Canada's worst natural disaster hit, and I was in the middle of it, leading Canada's force of 55. Y'all had the force of 50 down in Puerto Rico a while ago. Canada had the force of 55 2 years before that. The only radios I trust in a crossband sense are the ICOM 2730 or its predecessor, the 2520. I want to say it's been a while, and the very venerable FT88 or 8900. Of course, with any crossband radio, you never want to run it on high power because they're not designed for full duty cycle. They'll overheat real fast. Now, I also have a Kenwood TM732 here on my desk, but they're getting pretty long in the tooth. But they do crossband quite well as well. So any of those, you can't go too far wrong with them.
Good stuff. Okay, thank you. We'll tell you what, guys, we're getting up to the top of the hour, and we need to put a bow on this thing. So, Vince, thank you very much for joining us. Really do appreciate it. Any final words from yourself?
Just hey, it's my honor to be here. Thanks very much for having me. Tim, Philip, great to meet you guys almost in real life. Tracy,
Likewise.
great to see you again. And yeah, that's it.
Good stuff. Well, it's been wonderful having you. Tim, N9SAB, final words for us?
Oh, I had a great time. This is always fun. I'm sorry I'm sorry.
Vince made it a lot of fun.
I was looking forward to this, and I apologize only for not being able to do enough homework beforehand to make this, a better show. Really,
dude, you did fine. You just threw me questions. I just kind of go. As Mike N2MAK has said, I'm sort of like a wind-up doll. You just pull the string.
Yeah. I do that though. I just tend to things just come into my head, and I tend to ask them.
Good stuff. All right, Philip, final words from yourself, sir, before we put this one to bed.
Well, I would like to thank you again for asking me. I'm now the guest who's had the most times on your show. Is not a regular presenter. It's 3 times, which means as an electrical engineer, I do have at least some social skills. So we tend to be encumbered a little bit. Giving me a forum to speak my mind with no constraints is always a bad idea. But I apologize for my voice. Like I said, we're getting over something, and it's been a pleasure visiting with all of you. Nice to meet you, Vince. And
Thank you, sir.
I'll send you that spreadsheet I did about 2 years ago.
I think I know the one you're talking about.
Tim, real fast. We got a question for you.
Say what?
Real fast. We got a question for you.
Random wire, absolutely.
All right. Aetherwave antennas on eBay, Etsy, or Comms Depot.
Sure. Or
Thank you, everyone. We really
shoot me a note. I'm good on the Zed.
And there you go. Thank you, everyone. Really appreciate your being here with us. Watch for us next month. Until next time, 7-3.
Later.